Are you considering buying a Westin or Sheraton Vacation Club resale timeshare? And you kind of have some questions. Maybe you've heard the terms qualified and unqualified. Well, I'm going to talk about what is an unqualified week, what is a qualified week, and how you can use this to your advantage to save a lot of money. Coming right up. Hello and welcome to Destination Timeshare. I'm Jeremy. Today we're going to be talking about unqualified and qualified weeks as it pertains to Vistana Timeshares. So specifically, what is an unqualified week? Well, essentially, that is a week that you have purchased or somebody has purchased on the timeshare resale market. It essentially isn't a developer purchased week and it hasn't been qualified. So obviously, unqualified, qualified, they're the opposite of each other. But unqualified just means it has none of the perks that qualified weeks or developer purchased weeks have. Now, these unqualified weeks, they can be at voluntary resorts or they can be mandatory, where you actually do get star options to use in the Vistana Signature Network. But even with those star options, they're still unqualified. If you do want to know more about what voluntary and mandatory means, I will put a link to a video I did right up there. So this is just kind of continuation of that video. But specifically, that unqualified week doesn't come with any of the perks that a developer purchased week would. Those perks obviously are star options if it is a voluntary unqualified week, or other things like being able to convert that week to Marriott Bonvoy points, or even using star options for resort credit when maybe you have some extra star options to use up. You can use those usually for resort credit at many of the Vistana resorts. So that unqualified week won't have a lot of perks. There are also a number of other ones. We're not going to get into too many details on that, but just think, an unqualified week, you don't really get any of the perks that comes with buying direct from Vistana. Now, if you own a qualified week, that's essentially one that you've purchased from Vistana directly. The developer purchase, you went in there, you sat down, went through a presentation. At the end, you bought it, you own now a qualified week. Another way to qualify a week is essentially to have an unqualified week and then get it qualified. Well, how exactly do you do that, you might ask? Well, you do that by making an additional developer purchase. And really, nowadays, it all comes down to buying either Sheraton Flex, Westin Flex, or even Westin Aventuras in Mexico. So you can definitely take an unqualified week and get it qualified. So what are some of the benefits of doing this? Well, if you have an unqualified week at a voluntary resort, you do not get star options with that week. You can't use points and book internally to any of the 23 Vistana timeshare properties. You're essentially having to trade through Interval International to go to other properties in the Vistana system. The benefit of qualifying that is essentially you have that voluntary unqualified week. By making an additional developer purchase, they'll essentially make that a qualified week. It's still a resale week, but it's now qualified. So essentially you'll be able to use star options to book other resorts at the 8-month mark. So that is a good thing. And you'll be able to use that week to convert to Marriott Bonvoy points as well. So now one of the things to consider if you own a mandatory unqualified week, well, you already get star options, because in that video that I did talk about how that's the big benefit of mandatory versus voluntary. You do get star options, but the benefits here of qualifying that week aren't as much. Obviously, you're already getting star options, but it does add the ability to convert to Marriott Bonvoy points and even use it for resort credit, those star options. So just some things to consider there. One other thing here to keep in mind is when you qualify a week, that's that resale week that it was unqualified, those now qualified weeks, the number of star options that allocated to them do count towards Vistana's owner loyalty program. The 3-star, the 4-star, the 5-star elite. That is, of course, a topic for another video, and we won't get into too many details about those ownership levels. But just keep that in mind. When you qualify a week, it does then count towards elite status. So exactly how do you qualify a week and how much does it cost? Well, like I said earlier, it does require a developer purchase with Vistana. So if you do own 1 week, you can go in and purchase a minimum of $10,000, at least in domestic continental United States. Hawaii might be a little bit more expensive, but I'm not 100% sure. But in the United States, you do make a $10,000 purchase and you can qualify one Vistana unqualified week, and then an additional $5,000 for each additional week. So for $15,000, you can qualify 2 weeks. For $20,000, it's 3 weeks. Now, how do you use this to your benefit? Well, maybe you have an unqualified week that's actually voluntary, doesn't come with star options. Maybe you got it almost for free or super, super cheap. So maybe you paid $100 for it. You can then turn around, buy $10,000 worth of Westin or Sheraton Flex or even Westin Aventuras. And then that week becomes qualified, 81,000 star options. And now, boom, you have 81,000 star options that you can use to book into other Vistana resorts, not having to use Interval International, not having to pay those exchange fees to do so. Now, there are certain weeks out there that are great for requalifying and some others that are not so great. So if you're looking for a week to purchase to then turn around and requalify, probably the ones you're going to want to look for are the ones with the lowest maintenance fees to the highest star option ratio. So some good ones out there is Sheraton Desert Oasis True Platinum Plus. Those actually come with 148,100 star options. They have the same maintenance fees as the Gold Plus weeks that only come with 81,000 star options. So those are kind of tough to find. They were only sold by Starwood and they're a little bit rare, but if you can find them, they're excellent ones to use for requalifying. I'm sure there's some other ones out there, and there's also some that aren't really all that great to use this option for. So definitely consider all those things. Look for those high star options and low maintenance fees. Just a little bit of background on unqualified and requalified weeks and how you can use it to your advantage to probably get a pretty good deal when you count in the total number of star options you have and the total number you paid between that $10,000 cost you paid the developer to requalify the week and maybe that free timeshare week that you were able to get to bring in and requalify. So I'm kind of curious, have you done this? I'd love to hear all about it down in the comments below. Or do you have any questions about how this works? Be sure to leave those down there as well. And if you like this video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up. It really does help out these videos. And if you want to see more videos all about timeshare, check out the description box below. For another video about Vistana Signature Experiences, check out this one right up here and YouTube. They think you like that one down there. Be sure to subscribe. You can do so by clicking on my picture right here. Hit that notification bell. And until next time, let's make your next destination a timeshare.